People are going to make their way back in over the next couple of minutes. So I'm going to invite Joan to come back in and maybe take a couple questions before everyone gets back in and joins us. Joan, if you could turn on your microphone and camera. Oh, I don't think we have Joan yet. Okay, so guys, queue up your questions for Joan in the meantime while she gets back in. Here she is. Go ahead and turn on your camera and your mic, Joan, and it should pop you right back in. And if you're on YouTube, you should be listening and be able to just pick up where we left off. Okay, there we go. Joan came up and then it bounced her back off. Let's see. Get her back in. Guys, we had a full house tonight. I just saw that 88 people actually came in. Big number. Joan, if you click back on that microphone and that camera, should just pop you right back in. And if that's not working, just refresh that screen. Yeah, one of the tricks here at Remo is that if you ever run into any kind of trouble, we're in a browser environment, just hit that refresh browser tab button and it solves almost every problem. This is very, very different than than Zoom, where we're not in a different app. We're actually in the middle of your browser. Joan is muted. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Send her a note. Joan, I just clicked mute and unmute. If that doesn't work, refresh that browser. Okay, I think Joan is refreshing the browser. Guys, questions for Joan for when she comes back? You can just pop them in the chat. So that you were thinking and working while we're in this little okay, here comes Joan right back in. There we go. And I'll step away. And Joan, okay, back to
now
you.
I'm on. I thought I did so badly that you decided you weren't going to unmute me. All right, Francis, I'm waiting for you to give me the green light when I can start up again. Okay, so I've been told I'm good to go. So again, in the first half of the webinar, we focused on a 4-step HR action agenda. This is for the HR function. Now we're going to transition to your individual leadership. How do you show up as a leader to ensure relevance and ensure that you are leading your organization in a way that will secure its viability and its success in a post-pandemic era? So, VUCA. This is an acronym that many people didn't know about prior to the pandemic, but it's been around for a long time. We actually borrowed it in management from the military. And the acronym stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And I think we can all agree that we're in VUCA on steroids right now. The situation is extremely volatile, extremely uncertain, extremely complex, and ambiguity. You can't ask for anything more in terms of just not knowing what is happening. So, again, we're going to check in with you to see where you are. So, Francis, this is about the time when we have that second poll. The first poll, you will recall, was about the HR function. This role now is about your personal, your individual leadership. So, Francis, over to you to run the second.
I'm going to ask someone to drop the link once again, just in case anyone forgot the link and didn't sign up. Go ahead and do that. But let me share the screen and you can see I'm just going to show the results of the last poll. Okay, here we go. So this was the prior poll. Let's move to the next one. Oh, let me bring Joan up. Don't need me to. Joan, come right back up. Let me hand over to you. I'll just share the screen. What best describes your current level of readiness to provide the leadership your post-COVID organization needs? Okay, Joan, over to you.
All right. Okay. So, folks, you know the routine. We're asking you individually to complete this survey. So, the 4 options in terms of your current level of readiness, the leadership that your organization needs. Are you willing to lead, but you're not quite ready yet? Or is it that you're neither willing nor able with this COVID thing? Or are you not quite sure what your readiness level is? So go ahead and submit your answer. Remember, this is, you talking about you. So just go ahead and share what your feelings are in terms about where you know. Okay, so Francis, Michelle is saying that she in the Q&A anything in the chat. So I don't know if she's on LinkedIn or if she's on Remo. So perhaps you can give some support on the back end. All right, the answers are coming in pretty slowly. It looks like we only have eight responses so far. So come on, guys, don't over. Or is it that people are not seeing the survey because the response rate is pretty low? All right, so Dale has posted the link in the chat again. So if you were not previously able to see the survey, check the chat and let us know. Okay, so yeah, Margaret is saying that she's not seeing the survey. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to the slide, Francis, so that folks can use the chat to respond. Is that all right with you? So I've just uploaded the slide to the chat. Okay, and you'll see A, B, C, and D, so you can type in the answer that is most reflective of your current level of readiness. So Francis, you can go ahead. Ready. Okay, Margaret, thank you for weighing in. All right, so some folks are answering in the chat. All right, so far, one who was responding.
Folks, I think we looks like we lost Joan for just a moment. Joan, if you're hearing me, just go ahead and refresh your screen and we'll see what happened. But in terms of the responses, looks like B is the winner. Willing to lead, but not quite ready. But there's a good number are ready, willing, and able. And nobody is neither willing or able, which I think is a good thing because this is an HR leadership webinar. It'd be a bit difficult if there was someone who was neither willing nor able. But we're also seeing that not sure. So a couple of folks are not sure out of the 16 that answered. But by far the most popular answer is willing to lead, but not quite ready. And here comes Joan right back in. Joan, I think there's something covering your camera, perhaps. And something is covering the camera. Go.
All right, it's showing me that you have me muted at your end. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes,
are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Happening at the back end because both my mic and my camera are on, but my video feed is not coming through. But I'm going to go ahead, all right? We see quite a few of you weighed in and you responded B, which is willing to lead but not quite ready. I need some. Then when we look over at Benji, we see that there's an even split. Sections indicated that ready, willing, and able, and the same number indicated that they were willing to lead but not quite ready. And we had a couple of folks indicate that they're not sure. All right, so can I that you're able to hear me? I know you can't see me, but are you able to hear at this point in time? All right, so Francis, I'm still seeing. Okay, yes, the poll was still up. So I don't know what you can do on the back end, but I will proceed without it. All right, so again, now we're talking about how you show up as a leader. And so, question for you. I'm going to ask everybody to weigh in the chat. If you're managing in a business as usual situation, so that would have been pre-pandemic, versus if you're managing in a VUCA scenario. So we're in the VUCA scenario now. So you're going to say, is it A, should you wait for additional information in order to make decisions? Or should you be acting with a sense of urgency? Which is the appropriate leadership approach in a VUCA environment, A or B? All right, I see some B's coming in. All right, so Verlin, Najrun, Keisha have all said B, as has Marisha, Vano. All right, we seem to have consensus, but we haven't heard from the majority. Okay, so we have some more responses coming in. So I'm curious, for those of you who have said B, what's your thinking? All right, so Lynette is hedging her bet. She said depends, but B in the most part. So, Lynette, when would it be A for you? All right, so Lynette, go ahead and type in, and the others as well. What's your rationale for selecting the answer that you chose? Okay, A would be when it's beyond my control and I can't make the decision or need more information. Okay, so Lynette, I completely get that, but here's the thing. In the context of a VUCA environment, that you will never have all the information you would like to have. Okay, so Verlin says, although there's uncertainty, as leaders, we will need to act, do what can be done. Absolutely. If it's a VUCA situation, we may not have time to ponder. Exactly. All right, Deirdre, changes will happen whether you want or not. So the thing is, you don't want to just be dragged along in the process. So you need to act. All right. Um, I Yeah, still not getting my camera activated. Not sure what that is. Ah, there we go. All right. So change will need to be fluid. Exactly. So folks, in the context of a VUCA environment, you cannot just sit around waiting to get all the information that you would like to have because there's too much uncertainty in the system. The things you would like may be unknowable. All right. So the majority was absolutely correct. So, in the face of uncertainty, I absolutely get it. You want to delay until you get more information. And that's what you do in a business as usual situation. But in a VUCA environment, you have to resist the temptation. You can't get caught up in the paralysis of analysis because it's just too dynamic. Things are changing too quickly. So you yourself need to show up with a sense of urgency. And for many of us, it goes against the grain. It's not how we show up usually, right? But this is the type of leadership that you need in a VUCA context. So that's the first one. We're going to do several of these. All right, so the next one coming up, and again, I present the
Guys, go ahead and answer the question, A or B, while we work on bringing Joan back up. Because if there's some technical difficulties, boy, B is popular again. Okay, just keep answering and be prepared when she comes back and pops the question about why did you choose B. Actually, you could go ahead and put the answer in, a little justification as to why B not A. And let me see where. Oh, it looks as if she dropped off totally. Wow. We work to get her back up. Um, so Moya, if you scroll up, you could see the question: managing in business as usual versus the VUCA scenarios. Would you recommend staying the course or engaging in constant updating? And you're answering the question A or B. Great. So Moya got that. Okay, I think Joan is back up with us. And it'll just take a moment for her to turn back on her, at least the microphone, because I think might be some bandwidth challenges, which is why the we're losing her on the video. Here we go. Joan, we're back on.
All right. So Francis, yeah, it's showing me that you guys have me muted, so I'm not sure what's happening at the back end, at your end, right? So I'm hoping you can hear me at this point in time. So the second challenge was whether you stay the course or you engage in creating. And I am seeing all the B's that came in. So Somoya, I hope you got the question repeated so that you were able to weigh in. Okay, so yes, B's down the line because change is inevitable. Absolutely. Yes, Jeanette, it's a dynamic environment, so you have to be flexible and adaptable. Okay, so you guys got this one. Absolutely. So let's just explore why this is the appropriate response. And we're going to do that by looking to examples of effective leadership. And I have two such examples to share with you. Okay, so you should have seen them come up in the chat. And because I think we're all Caribbean people here, the first picture, I hope everybody recognizes that as the fabulous Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley. So I don't know how familiar you are with PM Motley's leadership and how she has stewarded the country through this pandemic. But the thing that she did, and I'm so proud as a Caribbean woman, she led globally in terms of how she managed this challenge, constantly updating her understanding of the situation as it evolved. She took guidance, she took advice from the professionals, and she made no bones about it. She says, I'm listening to the medical people. She went on a very steep learning curve, okay, and was constantly updating herself. And she used the metaphor, and I alluded to it in the first half of the webinar. She talked about using the gas and using the brakes. Okay, so it's not that she laid out one plan of action and stuck to it doggedly, even though things changed. When the circumstances changed, she changed. And she made no apologies for that. And she told us plainly, I'm not afraid to change if that is what is required. And yes, Najun, she absolutely connects with her people. All right, so that was in 2020. Fast forward now to 2021, Joe Biden becomes the president, and you see he does the same thing. Remember when he first had set the target for the number of vaccines to be administered? Okay, and then the performance was better than expected. He didn't stick with the target. He came back and he said, listen, we're ramping it up. Instead of this, we're going for that. And so his people knew that we can't get complacent because we're on track to hit the target early. We've reevaluated and we've changed. So in a VUCA environment, it's not necessarily prudent to stay the course. You have to constantly update based on what's happening in the environment. Okay. Yes, Jacinta Ardern, New Zealand. Yes, she showed up as a superstar as well in terms of effective leadership in the context of the pandemic. Okay. And well, not just in the context of the pandemic. I mean, these she's just awesome. Anyway, I'm a big fan of both PM Motley and Jacinta Ardern. All right, so let's try another one. Up in just a moment, you will see another choice for you to make. So, in a VUCA scenario, do you downplay the threat and withhold bad news, or do you communicate with transparency? Okay, so by now you're on to me, and you know that the right answer is going to be the B. Okay. Yes, Janet, that's so important. Janet has brought in the issue of trust. If you aren't transparent, there will be no trust. So let's look at another example. And this example comes with a disclaimer because I prepared this particular aspect of the webinar last year. Since then, this particular leader has run into some problems. But let's not think about his issues that he's having with sexual harassment or some other issues that have come up. But think about Mario Cuomo of last summer when New York was like the heart of the pandemic, and he was doing all those briefings, and he contrasted with the person who was in the White House who was the exact opposite of transparent. So back in last summer when New York was really suffering and struggling with the positivity rate and the deaths, etc., Governor Cuomo was communicating with transparency. He was giving, at the time, what we thought were honest and accurate updates. He was clear about what he knew and what he didn't know, what he anticipated and what was likely to happen if what he anticipated came to pass. But he always infused hope. And that's how I'm asking you to show up as a leader. Communicate with transparency. Be honest, including telling the people what you don't know. Okay? When you have information that you can share, share it. Okay? Talk about what's likely to happen, the good and the bad, and hold out that ray of hope that we're going to get through this. Okay? So I see, Najrun, we have to connect with emotional intelligence, coach, and communicate. Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. And folks, empathy is an integral component of emotional intelligence. Right? In my book, I talk about the difference between the golden rule and the platinum rule. But let me see how well you people know your Bible. So who knows what the golden rule is and can put in the chat? What does the golden rule say? That good, sound Judeo-Christian principle, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yes, know it. So I put it to you, like I said, it's a sound Christian principle. But when it comes to leadership, and listen to me carefully because I'm not going against the golden rule, right? Don't report me to my priest. What I'm saying is that when it comes to emotional intelligence, there is another rule that is more effective, more appropriate, which is better received by those we seek to lead. Okay? And Margaret has jumped in with it, and that's the platinum rule, which says that we should treat others as they would like to be treated. Why? Because everybody is not us. We have to take diversity into consideration. So just because we would prefer things be done a certain way doesn't mean that everybody feels that way. All right. So part of emotional intelligence is recognizing and managing our emotions, but it also includes recognizing and acknowledging the emotions of others. All right. So platinum trumps gold when it comes to how you manage your people. All right. I think I have one more of these examples, and we're going to then send you to your networking. Yes, one more. And then there's a little something else I wanted to share with you too. All right. So this is the final example where you're going to have to vote on what's the appropriate choice. So in a VUCA environment, do you double down to explain your actions more clearly? Or do you take responsibility and focus on solving the problems? All right, and you know, of course, that is going to be B because I already told you that all the answers in this set were B. So let's talk about why it's B and not A. So why don't you double down in a VUCA environment? So go ahead and put that in the chat when you can. All right, so assuming, what else? What are some other reasons that doubling down is not the way to go in a VUCA environment? The strategy may need to be fluid. Yes, sometimes doubling down can seem as though you're just justifying your actions. Exactly, Samoya. All right. It does not lend kindly to trust at times. Yes. And the thing is, in a VUCA environment, there's no single right answer. All right. So defending what you did is a waste of time. Listen, we have new information. So based on the new information, we're changing the strategy. Let's move on. All right. Lynette says in VUCA, resolving the issue is what is needed. Best to take responsibility and get things done. Absolutely. So what we have is an example of somebody who got.
Sorry about this, guys. I think what's happening is that when Joan drops a graphic in the chat, it cuts off her microphone for some reason. I believe that's what's happening. Joan, if you're hearing, if you could refresh your browser, because we're not hearing you or seeing you once again. I can drop the remaining pictures, the graphics in the chat as we go along, so that we can save your bandwidth. I think that's what's happening here. I could probably do that. Joan, do we have you back in? Guys, sorry about this. Okay,
Yeah, I don't know what happened when we had that break, but since I've come back, you guys not showing me any love at all with the technology. So I hope you can hear me again now. Yep. Okay. My apologies, folks. All right. So I was saying that Trump, and I chose this picture in particular because it shows how petulant he is. Look at this grown man. The President of the United States of America, arguably the most powerful person in the world. And look at, and that picture was from a press conference, one of the briefings. Look at, okay. So what he definitely did not do was take responsibility and focus on solving problems. He was busy pointing at any and everyone else and just talking a lot of nonsense. So why are we having this conversation? Remember, this segment of the webinar focuses on how you need to show up as a leader. So please don't be a chump or a trump. All right, we've gone through how you need to show up, how you need to communicate in the context of a VUCA environment. You need a sense of urgency. You need to engage in constant updating. You need to communicate with transparency. You need to take responsibility and focus on solving problems. Any questions, comments, feedback on what is required of you as a leader? Okay, Francis, rather than risking losing my audio, are you able to bring up the next slide for me? This is clear as mud. Dennis, what kind of mud you have? Because I am reading that comment to mean that it is not clear at all. Okay, so Curtis asked a question. What is the situation when you lack credibility? Curtis, if you lack credibility as a leader, you cannot lead. Would you follow someone who had no credibility? So if you're operating from a position where you lack credibility, you need to apply your mind to what you need to do to reposition yourself, to regain the trust that you would have lost. Okay, in my book, there's a chapter that's dedicated to trust. And there's a tendency for us to talk about trust as it's as if it's a single homogeneous thing. In my model of trust, I put it to you that there are 4 elements that constitute trust. And you can lose credibility, you can lose trust based on any one of the 4 elements. Okay, so I'll share with you what the 4 elements are. The first one is competence. People need to believe that you are competent for them to trust you. Okay, so if we look at Trump, a lot of people, believed in him and thought that he could do no wrong. But a lot of critically thinking people did not perceive him to be competent. Therefore, he had little or no credibility. So that's the first element, competence. The second element is character, and I mean, of course, good character, so that you're honest, that you have integrity. Because if people do not believe that you are of good character, they're not going to trust you. The third element is benevolence. And benevolence is a nice old-fashioned word. What does it mean? That you wish people well. So if you're a leader and the people you're seeking to lead don't believe that you mean them well, they're not going to trust you. Okay, so the first 3, competence, character, benevolence. The third one is what I call a meta component. Because it applies on its own as well as applying to the other 3, and that's consistency. So you need to be consistently competent, consistently of good character, consistently benevolent, and just be consistent in terms of how you show up. They have some people that sometimes when you interact with them is like, they act as if you are their long lost best friend. And another time they go on as if they can't even give you the time of day. Are you going to trust that person? Because you don't know which version of them is going to show up on any given particular point in time. So it's important to know which element is missing or is compromised, that has led to the lack of credibility because the solution will vary depending on the element that's in short supply. So, Curtis, does that help? All right, so I'm seeing a thumbs up. I don't know if it's coming from Curtis. Okay. All right. Yes, he weighs in and says, absolutely great. All right. So the last slide that Francis kindly posted for me. This is, like my final chapter in terms of the leadership that you need individually. Right. In addition to everything that I've said about how you communicate and how you show up in a VUCA environment, two essential coping competencies for you going forward are adaptability. And by that, I mean the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions, the capacity to be modified for a new use or purpose. Because by definition, VUCA that we're going to continue to experience change. So you have to be able to adapt if you're going to provide the type of leadership that your organization needs. And the second one is resilience. And by that, I mean the capacity to prepare for disruptions. Remember, you even start in some of the disruptions yourself. Remember what I said before about the riot. So you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with change. Okay? You have to be able to recover when things go sideways. You have to be able to deal with the stress because it is inevitable. It goes with VUCA. All right? And you have to grow from every setback. Okay? And Nazrun has pointed out that these are components of emotional intelligence. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the home stretch now. So, I've shared with you. Francis, you want to deal with this now or after they come back from their networking discussions? Tell me. Do it now? Okay. All right. So you'll see that Francis has loaded up a slide. You would have seen this when we started out. So now is the time when I'm going to give away a free book. So listen carefully. All right. It is a competition. There will be one winner, maybe two. I might give you a second question. All right. So the first question is 4 steps in the HR action plan. The first person to type all 4 steps into the chat will receive a complimentary copy of the electronic version of my book. Now, Samoya, you have to type in all 4. No worries, Samoya, just that in case anybody didn't know the first one, you just gave them. Joanna! Ooh, Samoya is so close, but you're not quite there. All right, they're coming in so fast now I have to scroll back. All right, because it's the first one who get it right. All right, so Marisha, you have one step that you've given. Joanna, oh, so close. Naila, you gave one. Samoya, it says, imagine the business model, start a riot, designate job roles. Samoya is the winner. She got all 4 steps. So, Samoya, you can either put your email address in the chat, or either Dale or Francis can get it to me if they have it, and I will send you your link to download your free ebook. All right, so guys, congratulate Samoya. Oh man, and Lynette came behind her, and look at that. Lynette numbered them so nicely and got everything bang on. Oh, Lynette. You see the time you took to type it up so nicely, so boy, beat you to the punch. All right, Janet also. Yes, Janet also got it. Yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna. Oh, all right, Francis is telling me to move on. He put up the other one already. All right, I was gonna give away another book, but um, da, 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 da. Okay, I am going to give another one away. I'm going to give away a second book. This second book now is not an ebook. I'm going to give away an audio book. Okay, so the question is coming, people. Here's the question. I showed you a number of leaders as examples of effective leadership in a VUCA environment. The first person who can give me the name of a leader and what they did that was effective will get an audiobook. The first one in. Your email address, right? So when we finish here this evening, I'll send you your link. Okay, well, let me scroll back up to make sure that I am getting the first one. Wow, you guys were quick. Oh, Deidre, you're not specific enough. You just said Mayor Motley. Oh, plus you got the name wrong, so I can move on. Francis, please, by about Donald Trump. Okay, so Nazrun, Motley, responding to the changes in the environment. So Najrun gets the audiobook. So Najrun, go ahead and drop your email address in the chat, and I will send you a code that you can go to Amazon to download your free audiobook. All right, so Nazrun and Samoya, I have an ask of you. When you're finished with your books, I would ask that you go to Amazon and write a review, and also that you post your reviews on your social media accounts and tag me, please. Okay, so Nazrun, that's you there. Okay, got your email address. So you guys can be reading as early as tonight, because once we get off here, I will send those out to you. All right. Now, for those of you who didn't win badly, remember I said there was a prize that everybody would get. So I'm about to place into the chat a link that you can use, everybody, including our 2 winners. If I can get back into, yep, here's Remo. All right, so this link, sorry, is to a complimentary download of a new ebook that I just finished writing. I haven't even launched it officially yet. So, I mean, you guys are really special because not even my subscribers have this one yet. All right, I'm getting ready to launch it shortly, but it's my special gift to you. All right, so it's a short one, but one that I think will be helpful to you. As you see from the topic, it's an alternative to time management. All right, so Francis, my goodie bag is empty, so it's back over to you. You're gonna send them off into their networking sessions.
Joan, thanks for the lead in, but I wanted you to share how people could reach you because I'm pretty sure you people will want to hear more of what you have to offer.
Okay, all right, thanks for that. So yes, and they're gonna be getting the slide deck
Yeah, they're gonna get the replay. The replay will be out
or the
in a
replay.
couple of days.
All right, so folks, what you have, Francis has been kind enough to post. Marisha, book down. Marisha, what do you mean book downloaded? Oh, the one. Okay, fine, fine. For you, quick bad. All right. So you see here all my contact details. So you can find me on Instagram at Joan Underwood. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Joan H. Underwood, or for my company's name, Underwood Talent Development Services. You can also find me on Facebook. I to if you have other topics that you'd like me to address, like I tell you, I post every day, and I'd be happy to address any pain points that you might have, either a micro blog or the name of my blog is bi-monthly. It comes out on the second and the fourth Tuesday of each month, and it's called The Manager Level Up. Once you become a subscriber, a member of my community, blog delivered directly to your inbox, but I also post it on all my social media platforms, so you can also catch it there. All right. You also have on this slide my website at www.utdsinc.com, and if you go there, you can actually request a complimentary consultation. So we can jump on the phone together. You tell me what you would like to accomplish, either for your organization or for you as an individual leader, and then we can discuss how best I can support you with that. So all the ways you can get in touch with me, and I really do invite and encourage you to reach out. I love what I do, giving back. The work that you do as HR practitioners, it's hard work. There was a time when I did the type of work that you're doing, and I have to tell you, I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore because it takes a toll on you. So while I'm not doing operational HR, I am happy to support those of you who are doing it. So again, let me know what your pain points are and how I can help you with that.
Great. Guys, join me in giving Joan Underwood a big thank you for the work she put in to create this evening. I know she's been working for several weeks, months actually, to get to this point. And just please just use the emojis for me and put in any comments in the chat to join me in thanking her for being with us tonight, taking us through a stimulating session. It's very different to be in the presence of someone who knows their stuff. The way you saw Joe just pick up, and when she dropped the 4 C's just straight from memory, I was wow. So join me in thanking her and basically being with us tonight and taking us through her thinking and all the work and all that she's accomplished throughout the years to get to this point. Joe, you're really an inspiration to many, 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 many. So thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing your platform with me. And it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be with Carib HR Forum and to help, to develop capacity among our HR practitioners.
Great. It's been a pleasure having you. And we're gonna have you back. I'm hope. I already have ideas for you. So watch out and wait till you hear from us. All right, guys. Before we go into the networking session for about 20 minutes, so you can meet and greet other people who are here on the platform, I wanted to add in the name of the um, expert who will be talking with us about gamification. Her name is Dr. Lisa Facey Shaw, and she just completed a PhD about a year ago in gamification, probably the first one in the region. So I invite you to join us back here in 2 weeks' time. I think it's the 29th, with myself and Dr. Lisa Facey Shaw as we go into the power of gamification webinar on that topic. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the recording and let's go into networking mode. And remember, you can double click on other tables to move around and talk to anyone that you want. Turn on those cameras and microphones, and I'll see you over there. We'll be closing at about 8:27. So we'll have about 15 minutes just to hang out and kick back and discuss some of what I think, Joan, the question you wanted to pass on to us was, how would you apply what you've learned tonight? Is that right?
Absolutely. Because,
Great.
folks, this wasn't just a listen and feel good. This is a precursor to action. So as you go into your breakout rooms, what are you going to start doing, stop doing as a result of our discussions here this evening?
Excellent. All right. Hold on to your chairs, folks. Everything is about to change, and you'll find yourself at a table in a discussion with others. Take care, folks. See you in a couple of weeks' time. Here we go.